Again, Andy with Handy Andy, and welcome back to another project run through. Today we're over in Marietta looking at a cedar sided house. And we love these houses because cedar is your best natural siding. And 9 times out of 10, if you own a cedar house and a contractor comes out, he's going to tell you got defective siding, you need to get rid of it. And if you look at this siding, it's a faux board and batten siding where it's a 4x8 sheet of cedar panel plywood underneath that, and then those little 1x2s are also all cedar. When this house was built, cedar was really cheap, so the builders used it all over East Cobb, into Gwinnett County and around Metro Atlanta. But now cedar is 8 times what it cost in 1980 to put it out here. So if you've got cedar siding, just take care of it. What we're going to do on this house, we're going to save all this siding. We're going to actually come in. The guys are going to hand caulk every one of these board and battens in the joints. Whoever built this flashed it properly. You can see the metal flashing right through here. That's that little piece of metal right through there, and you'll see it up on this edge as well. And so just got a little bit of rot right here on that triangle is what we call a dog ear, and we'll replace those, and we'll cut those from the paneling that we're going to buy. Same thing right over here. Those are both rotted out. The doors, we'll caulk them for now and paint them. They're eventually going to change these when the budgets allow, and garage doors are something we just don't do here. At the bottom where he's rotted this panel here, we'll actually cut through here and install a 1x12 piece here. We'll fix the rotted 1x4 here on the corner, and also on this corner behind the little birdhouse right here is rotted. We can catch it on this side since we're over here. So on the right rear, we're going to try to create the same pattern here. They've got these board and batten spaced about 12 inches all the way across, and then see over here they kind of jumbled it up. So we'll replace this sheet right here up to the window with cedar panel to give it the same texture so it'll blend up, and then continue these battens across. We can probably take this appearance piece off and just run the verticals on that 1x10 and just clean the 1x12 inch offsets and just clean up this pattern here. They just had the deck done not too long ago, and the same with the fence. So they're going to get a fencing contractor to fill this void here with fencing, and probably do something over here with that same contractor. We're not going to do that for them. And then on this little garage door right here, we do a ton of these little repairs. So you can see right here, the frame is rotted in the corner, the outside trim, the outside corner right there, that 1x4 cedar. Same thing on this side here. So we'll just make those repairs for them. We do tons and tons and tons of exterior repairs. Come back at some point and rework this deck. I'm not going to do it right now, but this is all old growth wood on this deck. So you really want to salvage it. It needs to be stripped. Some idiot came through here and actually painted it and then tried to stain over the top of that. It just wouldn't work. And so this would have to be stripped. But the difference is the old growth wood just holds up a whole lot better. If you look at some of our other videos, we just did a deck in Canton a couple weeks ago. The deck was 5 years old and it was all rotted, it had to be replaced. All the cedar out here on the front of the house is in great shape. They had windows installed last year and they put this aluminum trim cap on here. You really don't want it anyway, because you were to get up on a ladder, none of it's caulked and sealed, and so all the wood underneath will dry rot. This owner hates it and she just wants it removed to go back to the wood. But you can see with cedar, and one of the reasons builders loved it is they didn't have to caulk anything. So when you see all these black voids everywhere, none of this siding has ever been caulked. If this was any other kind of siding, we'd be replacing all of it, because it's cedar. It really holds up well to insects and water and all that stuff. So as long as we come in and caulk and seal everything this time, they'll be fine. We'll revisit this deck, but one of the things that we talked about on the deck, they have such a pretty front yard, and they put this beautiful door set in here, that we'd rather lose these balusters right here and run a cable. We can use the existing posts. We could even extend the deck a little if they want, but we could run a nice modern cable system in there that it's fine for a railing. It'll serve the purpose for safety, but it'll visually give them a clear view sight into the front of their front door instead of making it look like prison behind these bars. We talked about potentially extending into this area right here, but we'll just revisit that at another point. Camera's gonna have a hard time picking it up, but in this corner, right behind the shrub, there's one piece of siding missing there. The chimney is really the only thing that got abused on this house. So we'll replace all of it. And we'll come back. We could do hardy panel here. It's just, it won't have the same texture. So we'll bid it both ways, but we'll probably put cedar here just to keep everything the same. But you can see how it rotted all the way through. So all the siding and trim on the chimney will be replaced, and we'll try to, where we can, we'll actually recreate this same pattern of this 1x10, 1x12 spacing across the chimney and make it all look uniform. and we'll probably run continuous pieces down the sides and just run this horizontal in between instead of cutting like they did. It just added to the rod in these corners because it was never caulked. So all the chimney siding will go. The rest of the house is really pretty good shape as you look at it. You know, how we approach customers is really, what if we owned the house? What would we do? And so the siding's in great shape. It's just faded out. So you can see where behind here, I can pull on it and pull it out, but see how none of this has ever been caulked and sealed. They got nice wide soffits and overhangs on the house, so that kind of protected some of it. But it's getting to the point now where it is starting to rot. But most of it's in great shape. We'd caution the homeowner, we're not gonna do anything about this right now, but don't put corrugated drain lines underground like that. It's gonna clog, especially where you can see it bends away. Probably on this project, she got a pretty good price to replace her gutters, and I'm sure it's cheaper than we could do them for. These are nailed and they're pulling off the house anyway, so our guys will go ahead and take these gutters down and just stack them in the backyard so the gutter people can make their measurements off them, and then they can throw them away. But that way we can get behind and stain the fascias behind it. She's doing a color change on this, so she's looking at 2 coats hand applied. You want a good job, you don't want to spray it. You just don't. And you can look elsewhere for information on that. We'll replace this missing corner board here, but we'll run it all the way up to the corner up here and just run an 8-foot piece down. On the back of the house, same thing. She wants to remove this aluminum coping and capping around. On the back of the deck, whoever built this deck didn't flash it at all. They didn't drill any pilot holes. And you'll see in other videos why that's important. Can't do anything about it now, but he used star bit screws, which is great. We can see by not doing, see the split? And this is a 1-year-old deck. So everywhere he drove a screw through the wood, it split the wood. And that's why when you build a deck, this deck was half the price of what we would have charged for it. But that's why, it's the labor. And so he didn't flash it, so there's a huge gap at the house and the deck here. So we would come back in here on this side and on that side over there with a pressure treated plate, custom cut and beveled. Again, you can see what happens when you leave these gaps. You come down to the bottom edge, and this wood in here is soft now, and it's rotted through on this side in the very corner right here. Caulk is your friend. The way this door is set, the way the deck is, we can't run a threshold plate under the door anymore. They set it flush. They should have raised it a little bit, and they just didn't. So we'll just seal that gap with elastomeric. The dog ears right here underneath this gutter, again, that triangular piece, and there's another one over here on the right side. Those are both rotted out, so we'll replace those with cedar panel. And then here, we're gonna clean this up. There's a joint somewhere underneath one of these right here. So we're gonna place one piece of 4x8 cedar sheet panel here and replace the one down here that the customer or someone did in just regular plywood. And then we'll be able to clean up these board and battens and get them back to that same pattern over here, which is a 1x10, 112 spacing, and continue all the way here. Here they kind of skipped the pattern because they were trying to get this light centered in it. But we'll do away with all this busyness underneath this window. And then her gutter people, we've replaced these before. Don't use flex ducts anywhere on your house. This stuff is awful. Home Depot sells it, and yeah, you know, it'll serve a short-term purpose, but things will clog and cause more damage than good. At the back of the house underneath, I'll go back around here, I guess. She wants to put some lattice down here. The cool thing about Handy Andy is you're patient with us. We do everything. We do just about anything on a house that you can imagine. Just we stay really busy, and so it's hard for us to get around. So she envisions running a lattice framework under this step, and we're gonna run it out to the rim right here. The way the guy built the deck is not how we would have done it, but we're gonna come off this edge and just install a nail head across here, just a little ledger board across, and then we'll set some 2x4s in concrete at the back. It's just to keep it straight and come off this line with the fence so she can seal this up and not have to look at it. We'll have to create some doors somewhere in here for him to get through here. He's got some lawn stuff underneath here. And the thing about decks, we can do it or they can do it. He's got nothing on the outside here. Every one of these needs hangers. And what this fella did is somewhere in here, I'll be able to show you. Everything he did on the deck is nailed. There's no screws in this deck. So he installed some hangers here, but they're all nailed instead of screwed. And he really should have put a plate under here to support the steps to meet code. And then on the back edge, he's got all his weight sitting out here, but he never put any joist hangers where the deck meets the house. I'm trying to see where I was here, somewhere back here. Right here. And you can see where it's already pulled away from the house. No hangers. So you can add those in here, but there's no flashing on the deck. This is where we are right here. So For some reason, he came off here and he added this 2x right here to nail off on. This is just all going to trap water. So not really the right way to do any of that. And then we'll come back and we'll give them pricing to hand stain this house as well. We've been doing this stuff for over 25 years in Metro Atlanta now. It's hard to believe. I started this company. This customer had some confusion. There's another guy running around in this who's calling himself Handy Andy Handyman. Last year, he was running under Handy Andy Handyman as well. We've been Handy Andy Handyman for over 20 years. So, you know, we're gonna have to have somebody deal with them again. But they actually came out and had bid this job for this customer, and they just kind of said, threw it in the garbage. So it was funny, but that's us in trucks like that. So look for we talk to people about this all the time. Look for contractors in decal trucks. Make sure they've got a website. Make sure they have a office outside their home. Make sure they've been in business for 5 years. And probably the biggest one is to make sure they take credit cards. Your stronger contractors will be able to accept and process credit cards. The weaker guys can't. And it's also gives you recourse if there's any problems with the house. But this is a beautiful house. It won't take much to turn it around, and their cedar siding is in mostly great shape. So I'm Andy with Handy Andy. You can find us at handyandyfixedit.xyz, or you can reach us in the office at 770-912-2829. You can catch me sometimes at 770-265-9017. See you at the next house. Bye for now.